Jimmy Only points a question. Sorry, Jimmy Only 45 points a question. Is it time for a new family to be introduced? Obviously, if you remember correctly, the last family to be introduced was the new Mitchells. Someone can correct me on that, there might be someone else. And then before that, it was the other half of the Gulati family, where you had a Fanny and Priya.
And the Knights before that,
Yeah.
roughly.
And then before that was probably the Panishaws, let's be honest.
Yeah, I think it was the Panishaws before that point.
And
like full-blown new family as such. Maybe there was like Greyside at some point in the middle, but like roughly for like actually new family with no proper ties to the show, probably is the Panishaws. Because everyone else is like, hey, here's the Mitchells, here's the Gulatis, which is an extension of the Panishaw. Like, it kind of, you need to, just some distinction. But yeah, it's been a while. It's been a long time since an entirely new family were introduced. And like, I should just take a sip or put this drink down, Christ.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Like, it's been a long time since we've introduced a genuinely new family. And we just need more. We need more. I don't know. It's not even, doesn't even have to be that eloquent. Like, I've seen people have the complaint with the families where obviously you build in a family and you don't want to have it just be completely null. You want to build those connections, because a big thing that families don't do in soap is they stay quite restricted to their own like family, right? Most of the drama stays within the family. And if you do that for so long, at some point you just start to, they don't have any friends on the show. They don't have any enemies. They don't have any rivals. It's like the Panishaws in a sense, right? Where, yeah, sure, Avani has like Barney and Suki has Eve, but like, you know, otherwise the Panishaws been pretty like caught up in their own stuff, and they're not that like linked elsewhere. So they don't like. I don't know. It's like the whole idea, right? Where, for example, bringing back Cindy. When you brought back Cindy, you needed there to be more than just Bobby and Kathy there. So you obviously bring the Knights. So that means there's more family for her to interact with. You bring in George, you bring in her daughters, you have Elaine to be the foil to. If you kind of did that with the Panishaws, who would really respond? It would mostly be the other Panishaws. Like if in this fictional scenario, just to create this weird narrative, if the Panishaws all left and they came back in 5 years, who's really reacting when the Panishaw, like, let's say Ravi leaves for 5 years and he comes back? Zach? That's it. That's all he has. That's all the other family it's the only other people he really interacts with other than his family. So and with that being said though, let's make a new family. Let's make a genuinely bona fide new family. We don't really need to retread old ground. Necessarily, we don't need a new Slaters. We don't, and the one family I desperately hope we don't get. We don't need new Taylors. We do not need. The Taylors were a failed reiteration of the Millers, who also went absolutely nowhere.
And
just not have them.
And just to add on to that point, the Millers are then trying to be a successor of the Slaters, but the problem is you can't do a legacy sequel if the other movie just came out a year before. I know technically there was just 2 to 3 year difference, but it was literally the Millers are introduced, and then who's introduced after that? Stacey fucking Slater. So you just go, shit. And then in 2017, it was obviously, I forgot their names. The Taylors. Yeah. And then who was introduced after that? There was another trashy Slater. Yes, I know I've just compared the Taylors to Haley, and that is like eating diarrhea out of a
probably would have fitted into the Taylor family. Let's be honest.
But you know what I mean. They're just trying to, when they do like these trashy, you know what I mean, on benefits. Okay, this is gonna sound like I'm a gammon, but on benefits like summer smoking.
Oh, I'm shy it is.
But you know what I mean, like the what you expect to be trashy in like
the sort of lower class, kind of not very high on the pecking order, probably on the poverty line. Those sorts of like low econ families, that sort of thing.
Yeah, the problem is you can't really do that in my eyes if you're still, because Me know, and I don't know if you know this, Ash, but did you know Ben Whitey has a hard on for the Slaters? Don't know if you knew this. It's not like it's
He
clear.
does?
He does, yeah. So I don't know how you're kind of going to make, if you're going to go for a trashy, in quotations, family, how you're going to really do that when you have the
I mean,
Slaters.
the big obviously this doesn't entirely encapsulate your point in a sense, but it's still kind of wild that when they had the cost of living crisis story, whilst still having the Taylors on the show, they gave it to Stacey, and it's like, what do you mean this is tailor made for the family? Like, this is the whole point. It's the weird thing, and not to get into a whole point, but like, at this point, EastEnders is basically a middle class soap. Let's be honest. Like most of the soaps, not many of them hit out for the, like, not many of it hits out for the working class. A lot of people are living in ridiculous luxury houses with absurdly well furnished and just kind of well put together. There's no mold anywhere. There's no damp. There's not like somebody saying, "Oh no, turn the heating off. We can't afford it." Like, fundamentally, we don't really get to see a lot of the class struggle, which, we did see in 1985. We have Mary the Punk, who is living in a house of damp. You have Sue and Ali, who are like sleeping on the floor with a baby Hassan in a cot right next to them. You have Debbie and Andy, who are like the yuppies as such. They are the kind of healthily middle class banker nurse wanting to do up this area, but not really fitting in due to their economic status. So it's just something that doesn't really happen in EastEnders these days. They tend to try to avoid noticing how the Slaters, despite supposedly being the poor family, live in like a solid 4 or 5 bedroom like house in London. It's just, and nobody really pays rent. Like it's wow.
I'm not going to derail this because I've derailed it before, but to my knowledge, if we're including just bedrooms, the Slaters is a good 7-bedroom house in middle London because they've got granny flats built on, which is like where Jean sleeps, and then they've got the attic converted to where like people sleep upstairs. So you know what I mean? It's like the Slaters are the poor family, but it's like we're poor, and it's like, yeah, but you eat.
They've got the most rooms.
Yeah, you eat steak. You're not eating beans out of a tin. Like you're eating just genuine steak. And to me, with a new family, like a family should be introduced where like you kind of show the struggles of like a brand new family. You show the struggles of them moving to London because really, and this might be a dig at someone that I used to know. Most people can't afford rent in London and have to go to the fucking government or other people to get rent.
Yeah, benefits, food banks, like a lot of stuff that. I mean, I say this. I'll reiterate though. I don't want the new family to be like this. I don't want. It sounds a bit counterproductive because you listen to my accent and you go, ooh, you know where I am on the pecking order. But we don't need another like criminally like poor family. I think the one thing I do think that Bannister's did really well is you've incorporated like a Sikh family into London, which religion is bustling in all the big cities in England. It's just how through time it's gotten a whole lot more diverse, a whole lot more multicultural.
Some would say woke.
But it definitely would be interesting to see some more families, just some different places, really. Like, Turkish family. Haven't really had a Turkish family there since the Osmonds, since Ali and Sue. Well, Sue was married into it, but like, just a family from a different background. Moving into London, setting up their own business. Just something different. Like, just something entirely different. Something you haven't really necessarily done before. Like, just something fresh. Something completely fresh. And the whole point of this one, though, I think, is we don't want the ties to be in Walford. We want them to be a completely separate family, and then slowly, they gradually ingratiate themselves in the community, and then suddenly in a year's time, they have a bunch of friends that you didn't really have before. It's like Cindy, right? Where, yeah, sure, Cindy has all her family, But Cindy's entire purpose is to alienate herself from her family because she just can't fucking help herself. She's just such a cow that she just makes her family hate her. So it took like a good 2 years for them to actually go, "Hey, Cindy, you know how you've hated Elaine this entire time? Well, you guys are now friends." And it's like, yes, yes. And like Harry and Kojo, another friendship which is precious and really good because Kojo wasn't really doing much till now. So yeah, I think there's just kind of it's definitely the right time, I think, for a new family as well, because you've done a really, really good job of building like back a lot of the historically prominent families. The Brannins, the Trumans, the Foxes, that kind of and then the Beals on top, but the Beals is both blended with the Knights and the Brannins and the Beals as its own family. The Mitchells rebuilt a whole new facet that we didn't know we had before. The Panesars, still a very large family, a lot of different angles that you go with story wise. You go with Ravi, you go with Avani and Priya, you go with Suki, you go with Eve, the Slaters, so many families that you have successfully built back up. But now it feels like we need to put we need to put something among the pigeons. We need to kind of shake it all up because it's kind of, I don't know, everyone's a bit chummy at this point. We need a new family to kind of like shake it up. I'm trying to think of a good analogy for it, but I have none.
See what and I know people are going to go, why didn't you go for the quote stereotype of this? But I want a Northern Irish family introduced, right? And everyone just reacts normal to this, right? Except for Joel, who's doing... So obviously, if you get this, you get this. He is doing what most gamins do when they see foreigners, where it's like, oh, it's the Northern Irish, are they going to blow me up? And everyone's just like, Joel, shut up, Joel. So obviously, just like he's making jokes, and then he just gets sparked up by a Northern Irish fan. I would really love to see the travelling community implemented in the EastEnders, I should say. So yeah, do that. Don't think you could really bring the culture with it, but
you could try. You have some, have some parts of it.
See, the best thing is you could, and I know this is a very niche reference because I watched this documentary once and I never shut up about it. But you could do you could have like, so the son of the Northern Irish family who is a part of the travelling community, because I don't know what the term for those people are, but just Joel.
Just keep that way.
But right.
Any word you think, don't say
it. But Joel, right? Joel is like, Joel wants to fight this Northern Irish travelling member of the community, son. But the son just does what like these dads did in like 2010, where they upload YouTube call out videos, which are fucking fantastic. If people have not seen them, I recommend them. It's just some fat, balding like Northern Irish or Irish man just like saying, "You shout my missus, I'll fucking batter you, mate, down on the Swan's Head." And I
mean, could even, if we are taking the Northern Irish, also bold of you to suggest a Northern Irish family. But don't want to spark any wars. But kind of, I mean, hey, get yourself. I know the last pasta we had wasn't too good.
Oh,
Could get some religion in there. You know,
I mean,
I don't know. Maybe I'm misrepresenting Northern Ireland. Probably a lot of pro-life in Northern Ireland. Might be an interesting story. You know, kind of very. I mean, I'm not saying I want to, because we already have Joel, who's a baby gammon, but probably might be interesting to see kind of different beliefs. You know, you bring in a family, you bring in this Northern Irish vicar who comes in. Which side's Northern Ireland? They Protestant or Catholic?
They're Protestant.
Yeah, you bring in this Protestant like vicar who's got a bunch of problems with society. Could be interesting. I want to see the world burn.
I mean, just on that, I know we technically have Joel, but I would love an entire family who are the very counterproductive of, because it is technically a taboo in quotations to bring up the gammons, but it would be nice to see. I can't believe I'm saying this, gammon representation in soap. But like, just because obviously the joke would be, is you're saying, look, your beliefs are fucking stupid, without blatantly going, look, your beliefs are fucking stupid. But yeah, I just would love to see that. It won't happen, but that's my family pitch. Northern Irish, and then you could even have a seed where Ian Beale walks in, who's obviously very Catholic. He's Catholic when he wants to be Catholic, and he goes up. So
he's never used protection in his life,
but he goes up to this dad, and let's just call him Bob. And obviously, if you don't know, there's a joke in Northern Ireland where, how do you know if someone's Catholic or Protestant? Because if they put the toaster in the cupboard, then you know they're Protestant. So Ian Beale just leaves out a toaster, and he just looks at Bob, just like, what are you going to do, huh? Are you Catholic?
It's such a weird. I don't know why this is where we've kind of left on it. It would be. I do think this family would be interesting. Obviously, you could do a whole like different myriad of different families. Like obviously, whatever family you'd want to see, tell us in the comment section. Bit of engagement farming. But also like I don't know. There's so many options, right? So many options of where you could go. And I do think it's kind of the beauty that you have of just being a soap, but you can go anywhere as long as it's not like a fucking alien. Like you can't necessarily do an alien, but like you can get anyone from anywhere, find an interesting background, you know.
I mean, just kind of again dig on the gammons. I guess if you brought in the Northern Irish family, they could call the themselves aliens because they're from this place. I'm just saying they could do that. I don't agree with it, but there you go. We love making fun of the gammons because they're so stupid. Stop painting roundabouts, you fuckers.
But yeah, I do get that it would be quite controversial, but I also think it would be kind of fun to see how it would be written. Because it's just you need the characters that you do love to hate, and they say the horrendous things that nobody else is gonna say. That's not me like commending. This isn't me like, yeah, true speech, preach. It's not me being like, yeah, I love it. But like, in terms of cool, fun, kind of toxic storylines, could be interesting.
See,
obviously it'd be annoying to watch because it's clearly not what I agree with. But also, it's a show. It's fun to see stuff that you wouldn't necessarily deal with on a daily basis. Like one of my favorite bits was always whenever Dot or even Yolande would kind of have like a big struggle, and then you get to see the crisis of faith. We're obviously not really a big fan of the man upstairs, but it is really interesting when Dot goes through it, and you kind of see her like tackle this thing. Like it's always good to kind of shed light on beliefs and kind of go through stuff. Obviously, you could do any other myriad of families once again, but still, I don't know, maybe interesting, kind of counterculture, not necessarily the most woke kind of person. Maybe interesting. Will be annoying to watch, you know, but still kind of intriguing.
And
or you just go the other way and you cast a trans actor to play a trans character, or you just do anything. Just ball.
Bringing in like a gammon family is like sticking your dick in a wasp nest. Like, is your friend going to poke it and your dick's going to get stung? Or you're just going to have honey on it?
I think it's already getting stung if it's in there, mate. I won't lie. I don't think it needs the extra nudge.
Well, we don't know. But like, I'll just end this video off. Obviously, if you couldn't tell, we don't like the gammons. But that is it. If your opinions are lying differently, okay. Okay. But I do want to say thank you for watching. We will see you in the next one. Bye bye. Bye bye.